is a thing I haven't really told you guys. None of the Ethernet ports in my apartment work.
Holy cow.
Andrew.
Need to go.
All right, I'm going to get secondhand triggered here. Welcome to your Morning Show Leftover Podcast. Intern John's my name. Riley is here.
Hey.
Rose is here as well. Hoodie is here.
Hello.
We're all just taken aback because the thing about, as I said about the radio studio, if this is the surgery room, if you hear a loud noise in the operating studio around you, instantly the alarm goes off. Like, is something wrong? Whether it's yelling, whether it's Eric going, and then like he doesn't think I can hear it, and then I ask him what it is. He tells me not to worry about it, and then he keeps talking under his breath, like, why is he worrying about it? I'm like, well, because you're breathing silently. In this case, Eric just laughed out of nowhere, and like we all looked like, is everything okay?
Right? What's going on?
So everything is fine. We're still here. Hey, we're still alive. Appreciate you listening. If you are getting ready for a nice, lovely weekend, we got a lot to get into. We're going to talk about, we had a morning show voicemail. Somebody asked the coolest celebrity we met and the least cool. And I promise you we would do it in the Leftover podcast. Now, before we go around the room with ours, it has to be prefaced by celebrities are people too. And a lot of times, I always apologize to artists now. Like when we saw Ed Sheeran, last time we saw him, Hoods, was 3 years ago, I think, Capital One. I said to him in the beginning before we started, like, I apologize for all the stupid questions you've been asked while doing interviews. Because there's always one jock in some small town where they'll tell you, like, don't ask about this. And that's the first question they ask about. And it is because everybody wants to be like that shock jock. But it's like, yeah, they're not going to answer the question.
Yeah, they're people too, people.
It'd be like if I was like, hey, did you get in last night? Nobody's going to answer that question.
Oh, God.
So, like, that's an example of what not to. So, I said the nicest celebs I met, Will Smith, Kanye West, and The Rock. Riley, you said
Ed Sheeran was the nicest. I like also adding to that, Khloe Kardashian was the best.
Where'd you meet Khloe?
I met her at the Grammys, and Kim wasn't there, but Courtney was too. Courtney is pretty true to form of what she is on the show. She's very like, nah, you know what I mean? Just kind of blah. Yeah. Not mean or anything, but just blah. But Khloe was so personable, so sweet, and like gorgeous in person. Like, it's not that she's not gorgeous on the gram, but you see her in person and she's so striking. And she was really cool, really cool. She just made everybody comfortable to be around her.
That's awesome. Wose, you also said Ed Sheeran and Shaggy, I believe, right?
Shaggy, yeah, he's one of the coolest people I think I've ever met.
Hoods, who is the coolest person you met?
I mean, Ed Sheeran pretty much tops the list there because it was spur of the moment too. You told me to come and I came. It was great. Yeah,
and we show each other our underwear.
Exactly.
That's an actually thing that happened.
I saw that.
Yeah, that's a real thing. Okay, so now to the our least favorite person we've met. Riley, I'll let you go first if you want to.
I don't know if I would say least favorite person, but the one that
least good, maybe like circumstance.
The
Wasn't the best circumstance.
Took me off guard.
Yes.
That took me off kilt was same time I met Khloe at the backstage of the Grammys. It was Katy Perry. Now hold on. I was obsessed with her at the time. And my PD, of course, he's like, oh, if you ever want to meet a fan that's crazy about you, it's Riley. And I think that took her off like,
as it would.
And she looked at me and she's like, stay back. And I was crushed. It's that whole thing of like, don't meet your heroes.
Yeah.
But to her credit, I think at that point she may or may not have been, I forget it wasn't Russell Brand. It was Travis McCoy that she was dating at the time. I think she might have been going through it with him because the reason I say that it's different with celebrities that you're backstage, you're going through all this stuff, everything's going on, there's a million things happening, because I met her 10 years later. We went to this music summit in LA and she was lovely. Like, I showed her that picture. She took 4 or 5 different pictures with me from different angles. She was so sweet. It was when she was just got engaged to Orlando Bloom. Super, super happy. So I don't want to say that like I don't like her anymore, but I just think if there was one experience that I was like, oh my God, I thought that was going to go differently, it would have been that one.
But then you realized too, like once the news of the break, I was like, okay. So
then I saw it, I was like, all right, that makes sense.
Because it's no different than like if you have a bad day at home and you go into work and it carries over, like that, the Grammys is work.
100%.
Like the Idol is work for that's not funsies.
People always say that about us, like, oh, are you so excited for this big event? I'm like, yeah, I'm excited for like when it's there and then the after party when we can all bask in the glory of how awesome it was. But during, it can be kind of stressful because you're running here, there, and everywhere. I'm sure her feet hurt in them heels she was wearing.
Hell yeah, I bet.
You know, so like I don't have any ill will towards Katy. I just think that experience, I remember going home being like, ooh.
Yeah, but at least
little 20-something-year-old Riley was crushed because she was like one of my idols at the time.
But and still is a lovely lady, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Yes. All right, Rose. What do you have? Like the not as great experience or circumstance?
So this was probably one of my first interviews. Now, granted, it was virtual, so I didn't actually meet them in person. But Avril Lavigne, I interviewed her, and it was like pulling teeth. And this was right when she got engaged to Chad Kroeger, I believe. So it's it was don't ask any questions about that. And I was like, okay, like I wasn't going to, but
I think the thing about Avril is Avril's very nice. She's just very shy. I think Avril's an example of like. There's some musicians you meet, and I think like the reality is they're music nerds. Like they just are. And I think there's musicians that if they could just stay. Nick Jonas is another one. I think if Nick Jonas and Shawn Mendes too, amazing people. If they could just make music and then not have to do anything else that comes with like the celebrity aspect of it, I think they would 100% just do that. But like it just it is what it is. I was in Des Moines. This wasn't necessarily the person's fault. It was the management's fault. Or like I waited 3 hours to interview Tyga, and the weird part about Tyga was in the interview I put my arm around his shoulder for a photo, and his security guard, big guy, takes my arm like violently and lifts it off his shoulder and puts it on Tyga's lower back, and like
that's
and in the photo I'm just like, because I'm like. I don't know if it was like a security thing, but I think I could do more damage controlling your belt than your shoulder. Yeah. It was a very odd, like, because a lot of times I think that it's just like, it's the people around the person awkward. That are the mean ones, not the artists themselves. So, Hoodie, do you have any bad ones?
I mean, I've had good ones so far, so let's keep that train rolling. No,
I think for the most part, it's as long as they're people, so as long as you don't ask something stupid, you're fine. So, Hoods, you said you had a quick apartment story.
Yeah. So another apartment update. My window's leaking now. So.
Nice.
Hoodie, move now, please.
Do you want me to call them right now
You
and
need
just
to move.
tell them what's up?
I talked to Maura about that, and she said hold off because she doesn't want to make it worse with them already. So.
Well, but also like
the boss said no.
Yeah, no, but like that's she's wrong because I'll tell you that because you're paying to live there. They work for you. You're paying to stay there.
You're
so
the boss.
if you're paying, let's say you're paying $1,000 a month, and it sounds like you're getting about $600 a month worth of service.
Yeah.
So like you guys are wasting money on a service that they are not providing to you, like leaking stuff. If a window is leaking, that leads to more mold.
Yeah. So you need to change apartments.
It's flabbergasting to me, Hoodie, the things that have happened. Like some of the stuff, okay. The door malfunctioning, meh. The neighbors, you can't control that. But mold, the power going out, the water situation, the window, like, no, ma'am.
Yeah,
no,
so
ma'am.
I was really like about to go to bed yesterday, and I kept hearing. I was like, oh, it's just outside. Maura looked behind where our bed is, and it was water dripping from like our window, like crack, I guess. So they're gonna have to seal it up. Hopefully, it's just a seal thing.
Document it.
My grandparents are still coming this weekend, so we're going to see what happens.
Document it. And write down every day something is wrong, write it down. So you can track and
please
say.
promise me that once your grandparents are gone, you'll have another combo with Maura and be like, we need to.
Yeah, and here's another thing. This is a thing I haven't really told you guys. None of the Ethernet ports in my apartment work.
Holy cow.
Andrew.
I need to go.
All right, I'm going to get secondhand triggered here. All right. Thank you for watching today's podcast. You can go to Facebook, search Your Morning Show, or search the After Show Podcast or the Full Show Podcast. Search Your Morning Show wherever you get your podcasts. We'll see you later.